This is my response to the video prompt CRISPR. First things first, looking at the assignment itself and reading through the paragraph about Alfred Nobel, and then going to the question, how is the discovery of CRISPR similar? Is it good or bad? I cannot say for certain. I see it as a good and bad thing. So, that being said, I believe CRISPR has the potential to be good and CRISPR has the potential to be bad or negative. On the side here, I have some notes that I made prior to doing this video just to help keep me on track a bit here. So, as I said, CRISPR has its own pros. It has numerous advantages. CRISPR can eliminate diseases and cancer cells. CRISPR can increase plants' resistance to disease, weather, and invasive species, and it can make our food healthier and grow at a quicker or faster rate. It can combat infectious diseases and the mosquitoes that commonly spread those infectious diseases. Scientists can erase and cure faulty genes that cause hereditary diseases and eliminate or potentially eliminate those diseases for good. This specifically touches a little close to home for me. In my family, on my mother's side, we have a autoimmune disease that is passed genetically or hereditarily, known as ankylosing spondylitis. My grandfather has it, my mother has it, I potentially have it. I went in and had some blood testing and genetic testing done, and I do carry the gene, but that does not necessarily mean that the negative symptoms or effects will show in my body. That being said, I also have the potential, knowing I have the gene, to pass it on to my children someday, which is something that I do not want to do, as I've seen my older family members struggle with this autoimmune disease, and it's not something that I want to continue to pass on. And if CRISPR could eliminate ankylosing spondylitis, then that is something that I am for. Looking at something both positive and negative, depending on how you're looking at it, CRISPR has the potential to resurrect ancient species or species that are now extinct species. Looking at the woolly mammoth, for example, a few years back, the scientists ended up finding a baby corpse of a woolly mammoth, and the bone marrow, blood, tissue, fur, or wool were all intact. The way that the mammoth was preserved ended up preserving its genes as well. I did a bit of research on this one, but the genes from that corpse could be combined with the genome of today's elephant and could produce an embryo, or a woolly mammoth embryo, which would give rise to the woolly mammoth. Looking more at the cons of CRISPR, there are quite a few ethical concerns, most prominently genetic modification of human embryos. If CRISPR were to be abused or put into the wrong hands or promoted a certain way, it could lead to designer babies, as they call it. Designer babies are where desired traits are left within an embryo's genome or a parent's genome even, and the undesired traits are cut out. So, for example, if a bumpy, large nose was undesired, genes that cause or lead to a big, bumpy nose could be cut out, so all noses, or a baby's nose, would be perfectly straight and small and tiny. this could go as far as physical traits and then abilities as well. It could be used for intelligence, it could be used for athleticism, pretty much anything. There's actually a movie that I saw a few years back called Gattaca. If you've never seen it, it is an amazing movie, and it's pretty much about a world where genetically modified humans are a thing. And then last but not least, CRISPR can be used on nearly anything, and there are concerns that CRISPR will be used on bacteria, viruses, and diseases and lead to biotechnological warfare. So CRISPR has the potential to make deadly organisms, things, deadlier. And if scientists really wanted, they could make a strain of a particular virus or disease even deadlier and more uncurable, and potentially spread or drop that disease on a country that they're fighting with, and thousands, millions of people would die. Similar to dynamite. Dynamite can lead to hundreds and thousands of millions of deaths, or not. It really depends. I don't necessarily I can't say whether or not I perceive CRISPR as a good thing or a bad thing, but I do acknowledge that it can be used for good things, and that it has the potential to be good and it has the potential to be bad.